So your water heater is sitting in your basement or garage right now, quietly rusting from the inside out, and you probably have no idea it's happening. When that tank finally rusts through, and it will, you don't get a warning light. You get a puddle. Then you get a bill for $1,400 to $2,500 for a full replacement. But here's the thing. There's a single part inside that tank. Costs about $15 at any hardware store. And it's the only thing standing between your water heater and an early grave. Most homeowners have never heard of it, and most plumbers will never bring it up. I'm going to show you exactly what this part is, how to check it, and how to replace it yourself in about 30 minutes. And stick around to the end, because I'm going to let you in on a little secret about those 6-year versus 12-year warranty tanks that'll change the way you shop for water heaters forever. Alright, so the part we're talking about is called an anode rod, and it is hands down the most important component in your water heater that nobody ever talks about. Once you understand what it does and how easy it is to maintain, you'll have the knowledge to double or even triple the life of your tank. People with 20 and 30-year-old water heaters still going strong almost always have one thing in common. They maintained their anode rod, so let's start with how this thing actually works. Your water heater tank is made of steel, and steel rusts. That's just what it does when it sits in water. Now, the manufacturers do line the inside of the tank with a thin glass coating to slow that process down. But here's the problem. That glass lining is never perfect. It cracks during shipping. It cracks from heat cycling. It develops tiny pinholes over time. Every one of those imperfections exposes bare steel to water, and that's where corrosion starts. So how do you protect a steel tank that's full of water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? You give the rust something it'd rather eat instead. That's exactly what an anode rod does. It's a long metal rod, usually about 3 to 4 feet long, threaded into the top of your tank. It's made of a metal that's more reactive than steel, typically magnesium or aluminum. And here's where the simple science comes in. When you have two different metals sitting in water, corrosion attacks the more reactive one first. Think of it like this. If rust is hungry, the anode rod is the more delicious meal. The rust gorges itself on that rod and leaves your steel tank alone. That's why it's called a sacrificial anode. Its entire purpose is to corrode so your tank doesn't have to. Now here's where timing matters, because that rod doesn't last forever. It's literally being consumed. That's its job. On average, an anode rod lasts about 3 to 5 years before it's eaten down to nothing. But that timeline isn't set in stone. Several things speed up the process. If you have a water softener, the softened water is more electrically conductive, and that accelerates the corrosion of the rod significantly. I've pulled rods out of homes with water softeners that were completely gone in under 2 years. High water temperature is another factor. If you've got your thermostat cranked up past 130 degrees, that rod is working overtime. Acidic or aggressive well water chews through them faster too. Here's the critical thing to understand. Once that rod is consumed all the way down to its steel core wire, and every anode rod has a thin steel wire running through the center to give it structure. Once that wire is all that's left, your tank has lost its protection. The corrosion shifts to the tank lining, and once the tank itself starts rusting from the inside, that damage is permanent. You can't unrust steel. You can put a new rod in and stop future corrosion. But whatever damage has already been done to the tank is done. That's why staying ahead of this is everything. So why don't plumbers tell you about this? I'm going to be straight with you because I think you deserve a straight answer. Checking and replacing an anode rod is a 30-minute job that earns a plumber maybe $75 to $100. Replacing your entire water heater when it fails is a job that earns them $800 to $1,500 in labor and markup. There's no conspiracy here, it's just business. An anode rod check is one of the least profitable service calls a plumber can run. A water heater replacement is one of the most profitable. So when your plumber comes out for an annual inspection or to fix a leaky faucet, the anode rod just doesn't come up. Now, are there honest plumbers who will mention it? Absolutely. But the incentive structure works against you, which is exactly why you need to know how to handle this yourself. Now, if this kind of practical plumbing knowledge is something you want more of, I have written a guide called 50 Easy Plumbing Fixes that will save you $10,000. It is packed with repairs you can do yourself this weekend without calling a plumber. Scan the QR code right now or check the first link below. All right, let us continue. Now let's get into the actual inspection. First things first, safety prep. If you have an electric water heater, go to your breaker panel and flip off the breaker for the water heater. It'll usually be a dedicated double pole breaker labeled water heater, or WH. If you have a gas water heater, turn the gas control knob on the front of the unit to the off or pilot position. Don't skip this step. You do not want the heating element or burner firing while you're working on a partially drained tank. Next, shut off the cold water supply. There's a valve on the cold water pipe coming into the top of the heater. Turn it clockwise until it stops. Now you need to relieve the pressure inside the tank. Easiest way is to go to any hot water faucet in the house, open it up, and let it run for about 30 seconds. You'll hear some air gurgling and the flow will slow to a trickle. That tells you the pressure is dropping. You can also lift the lever on the temperature and pressure relief valve on the side of the tank. But use a bucket underneath because hot water will come out. You don't need to drain the whole tank for an anode rod inspection, but getting that pressure off is important so the rod doesn't shoot out on you when you loosen it. All right, now for the main event. Finding and removing the anode rod. Look at the top of your water heater. You're looking for a hex head, usually about 1 1/16 inches across. On some models, it's right out in the open on top of the tank. On others, it's hiding under a plastic cap or a piece of insulation. A few models actually run the anode rod through the hot water outlet nipple, so if you don't see a separate hex head, check your owner's manual. Here's what you need for removal. A 1 1/16 inch socket, a 1/2 inch drive ratchet, and ideally a breaker bar. A regular ratchet handle probably won't cut it here, and I'll tell you why. These rods are installed at the factory with an impact gun. They're torqued down hard. On top of that, after years of sitting in hot mineral-rich water, they get what I call mineral welded into place. Calcium and sediment basically cement the threads. This is the step where most people get stuck. If you've got an impact driver, that's the best tool for the job. A 1/2 inch drive impact wrench will pop these free like nothing. If you're going manual, use the breaker bar and make sure you brace the tank. Have someone hold the tank steady, or if it's against a wall, that can work too. The tank will want to spin on you. Put the socket on the hex head, position your breaker bar so you've got maximum leverage, and give it a firm, steady push counterclockwise. Don't jerk it. Smooth, sustained pressure. If it's really seized, spray some penetrating oil around the hex head the night before and let it soak in. Once it breaks free, unthread it by hand. Now, pull it straight up and out. This is where you might run into a ceiling clearance issue, because the rod is typically 3 to 4 feet long, and you need enough room above the tank to pull it straight out. I'll talk about solutions for that in a minute. Now let's read the rod. A brand new anode rod is smooth and uniform, about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, solid metal all the way around. As it does its job, it starts getting rough, pitted, and uneven. That's completely normal. A rod that's pitted and gnarly looking, but still has good thickness to it, is still protecting your tank. You don't need to replace it yet. What you're looking for is the steel core wire. It's a thin wire, roughly 1/8 of an inch in diameter, running right down the center. If you can see long sections of that bare wire where the surrounding metal has been completely consumed, that rod is spent and you're overdue for a replacement. And if you pull the rod out and there's barely anything left, just a short stub with some wire dangling, your tank has been unprotected for a while. Put a new rod in immediately, but understand that some irreversible damage may have already occurred to the tank lining. Let's talk about your replacement options because not all anode rods are the same. The most common is magnesium. This is what comes standard in most water heaters, and for the majority of homes with municipal water, it's exactly what you want. Magnesium is more reactive than aluminum, which means it provides stronger protection. If you've got smelly water, that rotten egg sulfur smell, an aluminum zinc anode rod is your answer. That sulfur smell is caused by bacteria reacting with the magnesium rod. Switching to an aluminum zinc rod usually solves it within a week or two. Now, if your water heater is in a tight space with low ceiling clearance and you can't pull a full-length rod out or put one back in, look for a segmented or flexible anode rod. These are either made of short segments linked together, or they're a flexible rod that can bend. They work just as well, they just cost a few bucks more. The premium option is a powered anode rod, also called an impressed current anode. This is a titanium rod with a small electrical current running through it. It doesn't corrode at all, so it never needs to be replaced. They run about $70 to $100, and they do need to be plugged into an outlet. But if you plan to stay in your home long term, the math works out beautifully because you'll never buy another rod. For installation, wrap the threads with 6 or 7 wraps of Teflon tape. Thread the new rod in by hand, then tighten it down snug with your socket and ratchet. You want it firm, maybe about a quarter turn past hand tight. Don't go crazy. Now refill the tank. Open the cold water supply back up, but leave that hot water faucet open somewhere in the house. You'll hear air sputtering out. Once you get a solid, steady stream of water from the hot tap with no air, close it. Then restore power to your electric heater or turn your gas valve back to the on position and relight the pilot if needed. Give it about 5 minutes, then go back and check around the hex head where you installed the new rod. Look for any drips or weeping. A dry connection means you're good. If you see moisture, snug it up another 1/8 of a turn. That's usually all it takes. While you're at it, this is the perfect time to flush the sediment out of your tank. You've already got the water off and the pressure relieved. Connect a garden hose to the drain valve at the bottom of the tank, run it to a floor drain or outside, and open the valve. Let it run until the water comes out clear. This gets rid of the calcium and sediment sitting on the bottom that reduces your heater's efficiency and accelerates corrosion. I pair these two jobs together every single time. A node rod swap plus a tank flush, once every 3 to 4 years, and your water heater will outlast your mortgage. Let's go over some issues you might run into and how to deal with them. First up, the rod absolutely will not break free. This is the most common problem. If the breaker bar isn't cutting it and you don't have an impact driver, try this. Spray penetrating oil generously around the hex head. Let it sit overnight. Then use a piece of pipe over your breaker bar handle for extra leverage. Have the tank keep spinning, strap it down with a ratchet strap, or have a second person bear hug it from behind. This combination works about 95% of the time. Next, you install a new magnesium rod, and now you're getting a rotten egg smell from your hot water. The bacteria in your tank are reacting with the magnesium. Switch to an aluminum zinc rod and the smell should clear up within a couple weeks. You can also try turning your water heater up to 140 degrees for about 8 hours to kill the bacteria, then dial it back down. Third, low ceiling clearance. You can't get the old rod out because there's not enough room above the tank. You might be able to tilt it and work it out at an angle, but you risk bending it. Your better option is to cut it with a hacksaw once you get a few inches out. Pull the cut section, then pull the rest. replace it with a flexible or segmented rod so you never have this problem again. Fourth, you can't find the anode port anywhere on top of the tank. Check under any plastic covers or insulation on top. If there's still no separate hex head, your anode rod is most likely built into the hot water outlet. You'll need to remove the hot water nipple to access it. Check the manufacturer's manual for your specific model. Fifth, you get to the tank and there's already water on the floor. If the tank itself is leaking from the bottom or from a seam, it's too late for an anode rod to help. The corrosion has already eaten through the tank wall. At that point, you're looking at a replacement. But take this as a lesson for the next tank. And last, the rod snaps during removal. If the rod is so corroded that it breaks apart when you try to pull it out, you'll need to fish the remaining piece out. A strong magnet on a flexible retrieval tool can help grab it. Get it out, because you don't want chunks of old anode rod sitting in your tank. All right, here's that bonus tip I promised you, and this one is worth the price of admission. You know how water heaters come in different warranty tiers? You'll see a 6-year model for, say, $600 and a 12-year model for $850 or $900. Most people assume the 12-year tank is built with thicker steel or better materials. The truth? In most cases, they're the exact same tank. Same steel, same glass lining, same burner or heating elements. The difference is the anode rod. The 12-year model typically ships with a larger anode rod, or sometimes 2 anode rods, or in some cases a powered anode. That's what the manufacturer is banking on to make the tank last long enough to cover the longer warranty. That's it. So here's what you do. Buy the 6-year model and put your own high-quality magnesium anode rod in it, or upgrade to a powered anode for about $80. You just gave yourself 12-year protection at the 6-year price. You'll save $200 to $300 on the purchase and get the same lifespan, probably better, because you'll actually be checking and maintaining the rod yourself instead of hoping the factory one holds up. I've been doing this for decades and the math never fails. That wraps it up. If this was useful, you will love the full book. 50 step-by-step plumbing fixes with diagrams all in one guide. Link is below. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the next video. Thanks for watching.